So I want to start this video off a little bit differently. We're going to be talking about my updated PTR controller layout. This is what's going to be coming as a main release for the main game here in a couple of weeks when the Brimstone Sands update rolls out. But I've been thinking about how we can get those ultimate abilities to work, how we can factor in music, and really just rethink some of what the controller setup is doing. Namely speaking, I wanted instant access to my all my different like potions and food, etc. So I've made a change that have turned the D-pad basically into that. Now you'll be able to go and download this controller setup. Just use the link in the description or the pinned comment of this video, and you can start playing around with it. My hope is that as a community, we can kind of refine things a little bit, make this a little bit better. I'd love to know your thoughts and any feedback of the changes that I've already made with the setup. You can always use my old setups, of course, but I'm trying to kind of bring in the ultimate ability and the music system and so much more. Now, I've run into a couple of errors here on the PTR, so not everything's perfectly tested. So this isn't my like definite edition, controller guide going into year 2 of New World. But that will be coming here on the channel. So if you guys haven't subscribed already and you feel like this video earns it, hit that subscribe button. That like button helps us out a ton. If you already are subscribed, you know the drill. You're a magnificent legend, and you look great today, by the way. And that's what you get for subscribing. Free compliments in these videos, and maybe I'll throw in some perks too. There's some more stuff that I'm planning as just for fun overall. So let me walk you through it. We'll also talk about the key bindings in a little bit later here in the video itself. My setup does require a couple key binding changes. That's just the nature of it. I am going to continue to advocate for native controller support for this game, as I think it would be much, much better received, but we'll just go from there. All right, so putting away your weapon or swapping weapon, it is set to the Y key. That is standard. You can hold down Y to put it away. If you want to interact with anything, you need to press the F button to interact. You can kind of press start to exit out of that, or you can hold B down for like 5 seconds to kind of as a fail-safe return you exactly where you need to go. Now what I've done is that I still have the start as kind of this press and pull up kind of the main menu. I don't have, and I've removed a lot of the other additional settings because you are still playing on a PC or on Steam Deck, so you can use the the thumb pads to kind of navigate around and get to where you need to go. You can still also use the right stick and the triggers to kind of select the different items that you need if you didn't want to reach for your mouse and keyboard. But I also have set it to now where you hold down the start button and then you can actually press back and forward on the left stick to have a zoom effect, and you can release that to go from there. The interact key, we talked about that. A is going to be jump. B is going to be kind of your cancel. If you double press B, you're going to go into a crouch. If you hold down B, you're going to go into a prone. That's going to be kind of some movement settings. If you have your weapon out, you can hold down left trigger to block, right trigger to attack, right trigger to hold for a bigger, heavier attack. Your consumables are up, down, left, and right. And then essentially if you're holding down block, your X button is going to be your ultimate ability. That's how you're going to function and use that ability there. You also now have the ability to use your skills. So normally your skills are bound to the left bumper and right bumper. Now you can actually just press Y. You can double press Y, and you can hold Y. So you can actually use all 3 of your skills while holding down the block. And this actually ends up playing out real well for archers and musket users, or when you have kind of an aiming function as well. So that's actually a change whenever you're holding down the left trigger, that the Y no longer swaps, but it does become your skill functions. Your skills are also still assigned here to the left bumper, the right bumper, and then holding down the right bumper for the third skill as well. So that's all functional and working as well. So that has not changed overall. But if I switch over to healing, now I'm going to put up some footage of me healing in a dungeon. I have set healing in terms of targeting. I could actually still hold down the left bumper to self-target, but now if I want to use a spell, let's say I want to bring out this, I can hold down the up button for my player number 2. I can hold down my right button for my player number 3. I can hold down my left down button for player number 4, and my left button for player number 5. So you have direct targeting built into your D-pad for your party. Now, again, self is going to be set to holding down the left bumper, but you have direct targeting built into your D-pad, which makes it so much more efficient when aiming for, anybody in this case. So like if you need to specifically target somebody, that's going to be a huge help overall. So hopefully you end up enjoying that change. Your dodge is still actually going to be set to pressing down on the right stick, and then in whatever direction you're moving is the direction that you're going to dodge in as well. What's also really interesting in here is right now if I press down on the thumbstick for the left one, it's going to have me move. And if I said left earlier, I meant right stick for the dodge. But if I'm blocking and I actually use the thumbstick, I will actually do a ping so I can kind of tell people what's happening. If I hold down the bumper, I actually can bring up my pinwheel and I can tell people about various danger. Like if I want to have like a specific marker that I want to place, note that I can actually put that down. The ping is a little bit more context sensitive to whatever I'm targeting. So it does help out a lot. So naturally you should be able to use and get by just with that. But if you want the more functionality, you have it listed there. Now, if I want to fish, you say, make sure, let's just get the water. Why not? I can double tap the start button to bring me into fishing mode. I can press the Y button to actually bring me into my equip bait mode, using the right trigger to go ahead and equip and select the bait. And then I can cast with this. And that is going to be how I fish. And then essentially I can get back out of the fishing mode by just pressing start. Again, I think there's a little bit of cleanup that I can actually probably put in here, just because the one thing I wish the game ended up doing would be to actually, I'm just going to pull it in. You can still reel it in using the right trigger. It ends up working out real well. Pressing start will put up your fishing pole and return you back into kind of world travel mode. Now I've set up, looks like I'm a little deep water. I love how they've updated that animation. I've set it up so that when I'm holding down block and then I press the start button, it should take me into music mode, but that's something that's still a little bit needing some work and refinement. And then basically A, X, Y, and B, like your face buttons, become the notes. The double trigger become the musical instrument, like double mouse click, and then right bumper or left bumper become the space bar, line item. I'm going to still test that out. Unfortunately, every time I'm trying to get into music mode in the PTR right now, it hasn't been functioning for me. So maybe there's a few things I need to do in that regard. But that is essentially kind of your basic functions. I think right now I'm going to bring up into the key bindings. And then if I haven't covered anything, if you have a question about anything, just let me know. They moved the company UI from G to F4, G becoming your ultimate. So I have kept company UI to F4. I've moved equip bait to kind of the minus key, and that's essentially kind of how I have that bound. You'll also see again, whether this is the tilde or the squiggly or what have you, I always draw a blank on what to call this key, but it's essentially the one that is next to the one key on your keyboard to the left. That's the key you're looking for to have that swap weapon. Weapon 1 and 2 is still set to that. You basically have 1 through 6 set for all your consumables. I have my weapon ability 1 to Q, 2 to E, 3 to R, because I have my interact keys actually set to F and my secondary interact set to T. So note that's how that's all set up and functioning. For my targeting group, I have 7, 8, 9, and 0. That's how that's group member 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, up, right, down, and left on the D-pad. If they ever bring in native and I could see that on the UI, that would be really, really incredible. Would really appreciate that. Everything else, I believe, is really kind of still sitting in the default with F5 for performance, F3 for fishing, and things like that. So there are a couple of little key changes on the PTR, but nothing that should really trip you up. I do have auto run set to my middle mouse button. That is my preference, and that is how that will work on that. And I do have ping set to the equals sign, and then the ping wheel set to the right control. That's how that functioning works. So just note that that is essentially how all of that is currently set up. Again, if you needed to see my all my key bindings, they are listed here on screen right now. So you could pause the video if you need to kind of take a look, if you need to make any changes. But ultimately, this should be pretty simple and straightforward for you. All you need to do is copy the link in the description, paste it. It should pull it up on Steam and allow you to apply it. It's under Ginger Prime New World Brimstone Update, which is currently live on the PTR. Hopefully this video was useful for you guys. Hopefully you check out the settings and you see what you can do on the controller, and let me know what feedback you have. If you have any trouble installing this, if you'd like to see me make any additional changes, people are asking me about gyroscopes and more. So note that a lot of things are, I'm happy to try and make this absolutely work for you guys. That's ultimately the goal. Now, I'm going to wrap up, guys. Thank you so much for being here. If you feel like this video earns it, hitting that like button is a great way to help it out within the algorithm. Also, check out the podcast, Epic Lead Radio. We film live on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Central generally. You can also download the MP3 over on every podcast platform. Just check the link in the description if you want to jump into the iTunes. We are on Spotify, Samsung, all that good stuff. Hopefully you check that out, or come hang out for the live shows as well. We also stream over on Twitch on Friday nights, New World only. Like, we're just having a blast playing with the community, getting some goals knocked out and done. So bring your questions, bring your comments, bring your concerns, or bring your goals, and all are welcome, whether you want to just join us on the stream or you want to join us in Discord. Again, all the information's in the description of these videos. I'm going to cut it off there and stop rambling. YouTube probably has a couple of videos that it thinks you might like up on screen. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content here at Ginger World. Hopefully I'll see you in my next video, but until then, take care.